Saturday night saw Terence Crawford become boxing's 24th four-weight world champion, edging out a razor-thin unanimous decision against WBA super welterweight champion Israil Madrimov in a highly technical encounter. As the arguable pound-for-pound number one, there are a plethora of options for Bud, and we at Boxing Social decided to take a look at who the 41-0 superstar could face next. 1. Canelo Alvarez. If you had been living under a rock for the last 12 months, then you would rightfully believe Canelo Crawford to be nothing more than a fantasy fight. Although in the Turki Al-Sheikh era, anything is possible, Canelo and Crawford have been linked to a showdown for almost a year now, and it appeared as though the pair would meet in December. Once Canelo assumably overcomes Edgar Berlanga in their September encounter, immediately after Crawford's win over Madrimov, Canelo was the name that he was quizzed on, and whilst he admitted his obvious interest in such a proposal, he added that a fight against the undisputed super middleweight champion would purely be for the money. It would be a shame for Crawford to lose his undefeated record by moving up too many weights and being outsized rather than being outclassed. After Saturday's victory, it was expected that the scrap would seem closer than ever, yet interest appears to have diminished due to Crawford's difficulties dealing with a 154 Baron Madrimov, and it could be for the best that he and Canelo are kept apart. Any major chances of the fight happening could have been ended after Al-Sheikh stated this week he was no longer interested in making the bout, but whether that could just be a smokescreen, time will tell. 2. Virgil Ortiz Jr. Turki Al-Sheikh had been the man spearheading cries to see Crawford square off with Canelo, but has also revealed that Virgil Ortiz is the plan B that they are now potentially looking at. Ortiz Jr. was poised to face Tim Sizu on the Crawford-Madrimov undercard on Saturday in a tantalizing affair, but instead the fight was pulled due to an injury to the Australian, leaving Ortiz to fight Sergey Bohachuk for the WBC interim title next weekend, hoping to improve upon his perfect record of 21 wins, 21 KOs. The Texan stands out as the biggest puncher at super welterweight and is likely Crawford's biggest threat as a result, given that Bud first reigned in the lightweight division. If Crawford wants to establish himself as the top dog at 154 pounds, then he need look no further than Ortiz, despite the fact that he doesn't hold a world title. 3. Errol Spence Jr. The rivalry between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. has been one of the most prevalent in recent memory, but when the two welterweight champions finally met for the undisputed title, the contest didn't really deliver, even if Crawford did. Crawford famously decimated his nemesis to become the undisputed king, but the underperformance of Errol Spence Jr. has always led fans to believe that he was weight drained on the night, and it must be a thought that has crept into the back of Crawford's head since and cast doubt over the best performance of his career. Spence activated his rematch clause shortly after the defeat, but a cataract surgery meant that part 2 of their clash has yet to be delivered. A rematch up at a more natural weight for Spence could silence any remaining doubt over Crawford's show-stopping win and remains as one of the most lucrative options. For Sebastian Fundora, another issue in the way of a rematch with Spence is the rumors that Sebastian Fundora will instead fight him in a first defense of his WBC and WBO world titles, although there have been suspicions that Spence may pull out due to an injury. If that were to be the case, it would make sense for Crawford to target the unified champion and speed up his undisputed run, especially given that he is Fundora's mandatory challenger for the WBO belt. The main concern of this option would be the stature of the 6 feet 5 inches aptly named Towering Inferno, who would boast a significant physical advantage over the 5 feet 8 inches Crawford. 5. Bakram Murtazaev. Last but not least is a battle with IBF champion Bakram Murtazaev, who knocked out Jack Culcay for the vacant belt in April. Whilst his name is not one that will help Crawford sell pay-per-views or necessarily add to his resume, the Russian is an inevitable step towards the undisputed throne and must be defeated if Crawford is to become the first three-weight undisputed conqueror of the four-belt era. Murtazaev may not be a Canelo/Spence level opponent, but he did weights over 4 years as IBF mandatory challenger for his shot at the title, and this would be a worthy reward. Plus he is known on US shores even if he is not lauded, having fought 14 of his last 16 bouts in the United States since moving to California.